here. I don't have any pics to use, but I will use this one to edit in here. Go. Right now, I want to do some of the superstars. I wish I had a camera. We know you can read it here at TMZ. Gone. Sure. I believe I can. I just got to. Jeez, no, that's not it. Let's do this. Yeah. You can see here about Anvil Jim Neidhart passing away. He's the newest I know of. Former WWE star, legend. I grew up watching him. It's too bad what happened to him Monday morning around 6 o'clock, I believe. Jim the Animal Neidhart, part of the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart's brother-in-law, dies at 63 after a fall at his home. He passed away early Monday morning after suffering a medical emergency at home in Florida. His home in Florida, because he's got a home in also a home in Canada too. And he's always going back and welcome to the Hart Dungeon, the place where that's at. Dispatch was called about 6:30 a.m. about a man having seizures and convulsions. Somehow he had fell. I don't know how he would fail. He's 63 years old. You gotta remember that. And his place is probably huge, so he was probably going upstairs or downstairs when he fell, I'm gonna say. Or it might have been a heart failure. We don't know until autopsy. But after having these seizures and convulsions, one point, the dispatch operator says they think he might be a signal 7, which signal 7 is a code is for a dead person. Man, Jim Neidhart was a 2-time tag team champion. They faced and they defeated a lot of good guys. Everyone from LOD, Legion of Doom, Nasty Boys of Rockers, Demolition, the British Bulldogs. I think they beat the British Bulldogs for the belts. I'm not sure if that's right or correct, but I think so. Retain those. I think Strike Force ended up beating the Hart Foundation for those, and then they lost to Demolition, and then Demolition carried out to WrestleMania 5, and Demolition was a good team, but Smash from Demolition, that's down on the bottom, tweeted about Neidhart. You can see it there, just saying it is terrible. I just heard Jim Neidhart pass away. I just pray for his family to get through this. Jim was a great friend, and I will really miss him, and I will too. And I was told this last night. I was in disbelief that it happened. After Owen hurt me for about a year. I'm going to be honest. I was a Bret Hart fan. Bret Hart's my favorite wrestler, and so I became read up a lot on Canadian wrestling and the Hart family and their deal. everything. And actually, it wasn't 50 feet that Owen fell from. It was a lot higher than that. You're talking about maybe 70 feet, 80 feet from the rafters. He fell that far. Uh, and it wasn't set up good at all. And he didn't want to do it. And but anyway, on that one, I don't want to be down on that. But Brett lost Owen, and then Bulldog, David Boy Smith, he dies. He has a heart problem that he didn't know about as a kid, and he dies from that. But he had a lot of pain in the end too, and a lot of drugs he was doing because of that stupidity in WCW, where Ultimate Warrior kicks the stick under the ring, and Bulldog ends up getting knocked off the turnbuckle and hits that post that's up under the ring, sticking up, and injures. And Bulldogs end up fired by Eric Bischoff, which sucks. And he went back to WWE, faced Stone Cold a little bit, and did this here and there, and then he couldn't do it anymore. It was just so much pain. He couldn't stand it. So he was just like in the drug after, taking these, and he couldn't help it. He was in so much pain, but it wasn't the drugs that did it. His heart, he passed away, but it was his heart. He had a heart condition he didn't know about, and that's what took him. It was a sad loss there. And that, like, drove his wife out of her mind. And so you can't see Owen's stuff right now. And I'll tell you why you can't see Owen's stuff. It's because Owen's wife he put her over everything, his stuff, his merchandise, everything, not Vince, her. So she has to say so over all of Owen's stuff, career, everything. So, and she locks it up, and she will not be let Vince touch anything. She let him do one DVD, and it pretty much sucks because she wouldn't let him do nothing with it. And Brett, I remember Brett saying she's just selfish, and it's just too bad that she's stubborn and stupid to lock stuff up about his brother that he wants out there for people to see the good matches he's got, and he does got good matches. I'd like to see Owen's matches a lot, and I'd like to see him in the Hall of Fame too, but it never will happen because of her. And the Hall of Fame deal. It's not Britt. It's not the family. It's Owen's wife. So remember that. And I remember Mark Henry crying out to her, just please let him be in the Hall of Fame. And I felt sorry for Mark Henry on that deal. And I know a lot of people went after him about it, and it's not right. Mark Henry did the right thing. Neidhart struggled, with drug abuse, like many wrestlers do when they're hurt. Wrestlers go in, they get hurt, they take something, and they get addicted to it. He went to rehab twice. I'm figuring he got his help. I think he did. I've never heard anything about him doing drugs after, the 90s. Well, late 80s. He did play, he became a pro wrestler, but before he became a pro wrestler, he pursued a career in pro football, which, he played for Oakland Raiders, and my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, at one time, and I still am Dallas Cowboy fan. Everybody hates me for it. I don't know why, but yeah, Emmett Smith. Oh my gosh, yeah, he's fast. I love the guy. Um, yeah, I love Dallas Cowboys, even though they haven't won in a long time. Um, but yeah, that's pretty good stuff. And then his last, I didn't know about the TNA wrestling. That's a new one for me. But his last appearance made on the Total Divas back in 2007. I remember he was in a Royal Rumble. I mean, not a Royal Rumble, but a Battle Royal sometime. It may have been some WrestleMania. Can't remember. But anyway, it's terrible. And it sadly last night, it hit me last night hard as bricks. I'm still thinking about it. It's like terrible. This is another loss. Uh, but he was 63, and when you get 63, your head kind of, like when you get up or your stuff, you got to be really careful because you're at an age where they think they're still got it, and you know, you really. I'm not saying that. You know, it may be different, but at a certain age, you got to be careful. It could have been that, could have not been that, but you know, your head spins sometimes. You get up too fast, and you go upstairs, and before you know it, you just accidentally trip. I've done it, but but it just stuff like that happens. I hate it. Uh, Lost another good wrestler, that's for sure. And that's the last wrestler I know of so far who has passed away. That was Monday morning in Florida, 6 o'clock. I know of. The first that I know is Brian Christopher Lawler, who um, uh, 46 years old, and we all hear about this suicide thing, and he committed suicide. But now, if you notice, it now seems that it's under investigation. That Lawler family, even lawyers, I'm going to get the Lawler and lawyer mixed up, think that it's not suicide. That there's something else about this, and I do too. Um, and first, before I get to that, my condolences on the Hart family. I gotta feel bad for Natalia. She will not be at SummerSlam. Far as I know, she has declined it. She will not be there. She wasn't on Monday Night Raw. She's very hurt. I figured pretty much, along with the other two daughters and his wife Ellie, and God bless her too. Uh, it's God, it's so sad to. I just don't understand sometimes, but I know we all gotta go. But like this, it's just sometimes you just can't. You don't know how to take it. And like when you're so young, like Natalia, it hurts a little more. Because my dad died when I was 4, but I didn't remember age. I would remember. It would be a lot harder. So, yeah, that, Brett, and Brett, I'm sorry, all of them, I'm sorry for all of them, the Hart family, God bless you, I hope y'all can get through this, this Brian Lawler deal, really, this happened, and this is why I'm saying that this happens in Tennessee, okay? And I'll tell you, I am 3 hours away from Memphis, Tennessee. I can leave now, be there maybe 3.5 hours. and Memphis. Okay, and I'm telling you, it's the worst place. Uh, Memphis is yeah, it's the home of country music. Blah blah blah. Uh, I don't like the new country anyway. I like the old country better. I look at Johnny Cash and Chris Stuyvesant, Willie Nelson. Those kind of guys were legends in my time as Sidwell and Jennings and those kind of people, artists. And Alan Jackson, I still like him. So I ain't good. But these new, there ain't no country anymore. I tell you, it's country. It's not country. You call it what you want to, but it's not country. Not the old country I know. Uh, um, but around here, you gotta understand, Mississippi, where I live. I live in Prentice County. Okay, and around my areas, there's Corinth, Tupelo. There's places like that. Y'all probably people that are far away would not even have a clue where I am located. Um, but Memphis, the home of Elvis Presley. So y'all know that. Okay, Johnny Cash was popular from Memphis. He made his start there. Many stars did, and the thing is, the law isn't good around these places. Okay, there's a lot of crooked people, and it's always been that way. There is good officers. I ain't gonna say they're all bad, but most of them are bad, and you got to be careful. Because I've been stopped so many times, giving tickets for stupid crap that ain't even worth it. Your tag light's out, you don't know it, they give you a ticket. Come on, it's BS, isn't it? Give me a warning so I'll know. um, so, and the first thing is Earl Lawler, and this makes a third DUI for Brian Lawler, and I'm not saying it's a suicide or not. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to. I'm not gonna say that. I just know from what Lawler said, Jerry Lawler said, the father of Ron Christopher, said this is being investigated, and what's on the internet now saying that they don't believe in this suicide, and it at first I thought, well, I could see it, but then as I heard about how he wanted help for his problems, actually Brian Christopher wanted help for his drug use, and Jerry Lawler went to the jail cell with the sheriff and Brian Christopher, and they sat down in a room and talked, and the sheriff said this is a good place for him. He could stay here, dry out, and this is a good place for him. And we'll watch him carefully. And then what happens? Exactly what Jerry Lawler says. This happens. Christopher ends up, this way. So and the lawyer to Jerry Lawler says there's something fishy going on. So that's when they really started thinking about it, and I don't know about the calls made. I heard that some cellmates said something to either the Lawler or the lawyer that said Brian wouldn't do that. He didn't do it. I don't know if that's what I heard right. I thought I heard that, him say something like that on a cell phone, or he got a text or something from some people that, and one that hung around Brian Christopher, it's his name, a good friend who's the Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, said he talked to Brian Christopher plenty of times and hung around him for days, and said that he was never suicidal, never mentioned suicide, never seemed down, never seemed that down at all. Ron Christopher at WWE when he was in Too Cool, he was that all the time. That's how he was all the time. So if a man like Brian Christopher is wanting help to help others get through what he's going through, also that's what he wanted to do. That doesn't sound like someone who wants to commit suicide. So there's a lot going on there out of meets the eye. Um, but he's gone, and to the investigations of it, we'll never know right now. I mean, I say do the fingerprints. I mean, do the fingerprints of you know, if it was the towel he used or whatever he used, Christopher's fingerprints would be on it, right? So do it. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. Technology is big these days, so I say figure it out. Lawler's got the lawyer doing everything. They're really going to town on that one. Brickhouse Brown 57. But before that, Joe Lawler was really in tears about that. Um, Hurt, and I can't imagine. You know, he had to bury his son because Brian Christopher had no burial insurance, none. He didn't think about that. I mean, I don't even think he knew he was gonna die. To be honest, I'm just saying he didn't have any plans at the time. It was this to even put out. Just not knowing where he wanted to be buried, and not knowing it, just didn't have the plans. I don't know what it was about, but I just know what Gerald Lawler said, and I'm repeating after him and what he said, and I don't want to get anything stirred up in that, but you know, so Gerald Lawler had to go find find the funeral home, and I imagine pay for it. He had to pay. I would say like Jerry had to pay for every bit of it. He had to pay for the whole thing because Brian Christopher had nothing to, he had nothing, no insurance, no burial insurance, so it was no plan. He didn't know what he was going to do there with that, and so it was really hard because the only thing keeping Brian Christopher alive was an IV. They were sticking medicine into to lengthen to raise up his blood pressure, because his blood pressure would lower so low that it would affect his heart, and he would go and lose oxygen, and he would die. So basically, they were just leaving his blood pressure to a normal level, and the only thing that, as far as his brainstem was attached, and everything else was gone. And so the only thing keeping him alive was this breathing machine, and his brain's dead. I mean, so, and Jerry Lawler asked the doctor that, and that's what he said. He said that there's no hope. And yeah, it's the medicine we're sticking in that's keeping him alive. So he's not, it doesn't look good. It isn't right. So he had to make a choice for the right decision, and I think he did. I mean, it's hard to do, to pull the plug. It's hard to do that. And sure enough, he did. And when they took the IV out, it was 20 minutes. I think Gerald Lawler said it was 20 minutes. His blood pressure went bottom, and it wasn't long after that he was gone. And it was very sad. very sad. But Brickhouse Brown was 57, and I watched him USWA, and I might have seen him before wrestle in my little areas of Mid South. I know he's on Mid South a lot, and I know USWA, and I've seen him wrestle with Coco Beware, and I'm sure everybody knows him from WWF, or you might say WWE, whatever. Uh, uh, just a long, hard fight for him with the battle of cancer, and he passed away from that cancer, and he really fought that cancer, and he was only given a very short time to live, and he showed them something. He really did, and he found peace in God before he died, and that's good. So be glad to see you in heaven, brother. Uh, Peace, Rip. Uh, Nikolai Volkov dies at 70 days before he was treated for dehydration. I don't know if he was sick or something, and other issues at the hospital. The issues are not told, and it was at a hospital in Maryland. And then after that, he dies at 70. So there's something there. I don't know. Maybe he was sick with something. Uh, but he was 70 years old, and so he was part of the Bolsheviks, and he's held gold, and so another Hall of Famer gone, along with the others like Roddy Piper, and that hit me like a ton of bricks right there. Dusty Rhodes, Ultimate Warrior, has a massive heart attack right in front of his child and his wife. It's terrible, just downright terrible. People just then Invader, the man called Vader. He dies. He had some kind of type of flu or cold or something, and he dies from it. I can't remember. He was around 60 something. I really can't remember the age. Leon's his name. Leon. Man, really. Leon something or another. Usually keep up with the old school here. You go in with Big Bang Vader in WCW. Facing likes of Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, and they run into Shawn Michaels. They fought him, wrestled him, and wrestled a couple guys. It's like but it's just I wanted to say something about the recent stuff that's been going on, and it kind of like puts a dent in me because these are people I've seen growing up, and they're all just going away. Like, it's kind of like not fair, but I know people say life ain't fair, but no, it ain't really just ain't fair that we have to see this. This has to happen. Like, we're not androids or nothing, I know, but we have to die sooner or later. I know that, but gosh, it just seems like time goes by so fast sometimes. But I just wanted to do this for those guys, and the Macho Man. That killed me. Miss Elizabeth. Uh, you know, China, uh, that really hurts. Big John Stud, tons of them. But I just want to do that for these guys, and I hope you've enjoyed and ripped to all these guys. They're in my heart. They're the best. And rip, my friends.